Hello fellow hunters of blue and welcome to another P.A.B. Sorry for the slight delay, but you know, things happen sometimes. So as I said, this is the P.A.B. This is our support group, our place where you can ask questions and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Questions about the hobby, questions about the channel, you know, whatever you want to know. And this is gin and tonic. And yes, it's pink and it's delicious. Bombay bramble with a fiber tree tonic. It's just so good. I just need to relax a bit now that my vacations are over, and I can finally go back home and stay in my dungeon, which I love. So, before we start, you can put your questions in the chat already. Again, whatever you want to know, whatever you want to ask. But before we start, I have some questions that were left on the Discord for my patrons, and I will answer them first, if you don't mind. I see your money going away. Yeah, probably. I just don't care. It's not. It can't be worse than it is now. So, first question: How exactly do you achieve that wonderful real effect that you often use to replace a flat blue? So, when you're trying to paint blue, it's very easy to get a very bland, very boring look. So, what you need to do is highlight it. It's going to sound mad, but that's the theory behind it. You need to highlight it using yellow. And what I mean is not, of course, a pure yellow that will just make green, but either teals, which have yellow in them, or something like ice yellow or dawn yellow, which is basically the same color. So what I usually do is highlight blues using teals. That will make them extremely bright, much intense and brighter than just flat. Using white, which is the usual way to highlight blue, because lighter blues are just blues with white in them. It's just how it's done. But if you use teals, which has a tiny bit of yellow in them, they will make it much brighter. So this also applies to almost every color around the spectrum. And if you want something to look bright and intense, highlight it using yellow. Yellow is amazing. And to shade blue in an interesting way, you can use a very dark purple, something like Nagger of Night or some kind of very dark purple will help the blue look richer on the shadows as well. So basically, the less blue you have in your blue, the better it will look. Yeah, YouTube could ask for money. Yeah, they could. Oh, my wife is here. Hello. Lovely. Okay, second question. How do you check for the consistency of a glaze? I find it very hard to find the exact right spot. Well, that's a very good question, first of all. It's very hard for me to define what that spot is, because it's done through experience. So basically you need to find it yourself, but the key is you need to unload your brush from paint. I highly recommend you watch Kuyo's video that is called Fat Glazing. This is the best glazing video you will see on YouTube. It's just sublime. I can't do a better job, so I don't. I just tell people to watch that video. Search for Kuyo painting fat glazing, or if you just search for fat glazing, you will find it. It's super easy to find, but it's very hard. You need to learn how to find that sweet spot reliably by yourself. Sadly I cannot really tell you how to do that. Sorry. It's done just through experimentation and all that. So yeah, that's it. So next question. I've been trying to be more efficient in my hobbies so that I don't waste time as much. What are some tips you can give to be more efficient? I'm not a painter to ask for efficiency. I'm extremely slow. But the few times that I've tried to be efficient has been through planning everything before I paint it. So I probably just paint a test model, see if it works, and then if I'm using any mixes, I will make bottles of pre-made bottles of those mixes, so I don't have to mix them while I'm painting. That's key. I did that for my undead, and it looks really and it made all the process extremely well. It made it very streamlined. Sorry, I'm just confused right now. So yeah, that is a good one. Then try to plan your painting to be to have as less highlights as possible. So for example, if you, for my undead, all the colors were just some were done through several washes, some overall, some controlled, and almost everything just had one highlight. That was key to make it fast. For most of it was just white because there were ghosts, but for the other stuff there were just one highlight. That makes the process because highlighting is what takes the most time. So if you cut there, you will be able to make things faster. So that's my advice there. So next question. Apart from that, it's just planning. So plan what you want to do and try to make it, again, as having as less highlights as possible. If you're trying to paint a large project, a large army, that's basically the key. Also, for example, for my elves, I don't have a picture to show you, but they were yellow, pink, and blue with the armor. So what I did was spray them with Wraithbone, and then I did and because that gave me a base coat for the flesh, the pink, and the yellow, and all the leather. So that was very fast. So what I did was base coat those with contrast paints, and then I painted all the metallic details with my metallic paint, did all the contrast shading over that, and then I can move into highlighting, and it's so much easier because I can do like 5 models at a time for the base coats, and then I just have fun with the highlights. So I hope that answered your question. Just 1 second, I need to do one thing. I will be back in a minute. We're back. Sorry about that. I had to deal with something. Everything's all right. So, fourth question. And again, if you want some question answers, please leave them on the chat. Because once I finish with it, I will go back to the chat and try to answer your questions. So. Question number 4. Would you ever consider doing a battle report for instance, Kings of War? It's not really what I want for the channel. I thought about it, we did make one for, it's in Spanish for our like club, and it was a lot of work. So maybe. But I will be probably drawn to do something a bit more obscure and rare, just because that's how weird I am. But right now it's not planned, and it's so much work that I highly doubt that will happen. But you never know. So, fifth question: I find myself struggling to really achieve good brush control. What's some common mistakes I should be aware of? So for brush control, these are my top tips. So one, get a large brush and get used to using it. So I use a size 3 for all my regular painting. So something like that has a very sharp tip, and try to paint with just the very tip. You need to get that feather light touch going on, and that's something that you need to do by yourself, sadly. So the next one is the best minis I found to develop brush control is painting Space Marines in a heavy metal way. So because you will learn how to make very precise, very small, very thin lines, and if you do that with a large brush, you will have just learned brush control just by doing that. It's just that repetitive motion. It's like a bit like the Karate Kid training montage. So just paint the Space Marines with a large brush and try to make the lines as thin as possible. When you manage that, you will have just learned brush control. It's just as simple as that. And apart from that, it's just practicing. So load your brush, but don't load it too much. It needs to keep the very tip sharp, and try to just touch with the very tip, just very light touches. So this is the mini, and this is the paint of the brush. Imagine like this. You need to make you need to make like feather touches. You don't do this. It's just the very tip. It needs to be very light on the surface of the model, and the paint will flow. So yeah, and that's it. So I will go through the chat. So if you have any questions, I will answer them now. So and nice to see you, Christian. Christian is one player from our Kings of War and Dead Zone leagues and clubs. So no, I didn't leave the kettle on. I just had to. There was a bit of noise. I just had to make sure that it wasn't interfering with the stream. That's all. How was my holiday? My holiday was, well, when you have a kid, you don't do the vacations for you. You do them for your kid. So that should basically answer that question quite well. Yeah, it wasn't a place that I don't like, doing things that I don't enjoy. So I'm basically glad I'm back. I am back now. Yeah, that's all I will say about my holidays. Now I can just spend my time in a more productive way, sitting here trying to make excuses why I'm not painting. Brush control, Heather is asking, saying brush control is the hardest thing I found while learning to paint wrong hand. Yeah, because with your wrong hand, especially you, that you can't use your dominant hand. With your wrong hand, you lack that light touch, basically. Oh, that's a very interesting question. What's wrong with your brush if the tip is like this? So you have a single hair poking out. that can happen. That is what is usually called a guide hair. So it can happen that hair is a bit too long, that middle hair that's poking out. So what I do is I take I was going to say I'm going to take a very sharp scalpel, but I don't have my scalpel at hand. So you can just take a cutter, and I place the brush over my cutting mat with a light shine on, so I can see very well. I use my magnifying glasses for that too. So I'm sure I'm not cutting too much. You need to leave a teeny tiny bit of that hair poking out, but not too much. And I just slice it off very carefully. It's better if you cut less than you need than if you cut too much. If you cut too much, you will just ruin the brush. So be careful. And don't try to poke that hair out. It will again mess the brush. It needs that hair to stay together. Yes, stressful holidays with the kid. Back to the dungeon for a break. That's it. Back to the dungeon. So while we have more questions rolling in, let me talk about a future video. So the next video was planning to be a Adeptus Mechanicus video. I think it's called an Esquitaro or something like that. I'm sorry, but I don't know too much about names, about the names of the stuff. So sorry, but that was planning to be this Friday's video, but I was too tired to paint during the weekend. I arrived on Friday. It was a 12-hour drive, so I was absolutely knackered during the whole weekend, so I haven't painted anything. So I can't do the video for Friday, so I will leave that video for the week after this one. And for this Friday, what I will do is a very short video about runes in swords and stuff like that, in armor and that stuff. So glowing runes will be the topic here. So I will do 3 kind of glows. So one that is where the runes are protruding from the surface. So that will be one. The other one will be where the runes are engraved into the surface, but they are too small to actually paint inside them in any doable manner. And I will do another one where I demonstrate what you can do if the rune is a bit bigger and you have space to actually put your brush in and do something in the recess. So I will have these 3 glowing. I still don't know how I'm going to call it. Glowing runes, glowing, I don't know, glow video. So, and I will do 3 different colors, just why not? So I have planned about green, blue, and probably pink. I have already done a pink OSL, but I want to leave the fire kind of glow for another video that I do just OSL, so with a fire and so on. So that will be left for another time, and I think I will do just pink because I like it. So that will be this Friday. I hope I can record it tomorrow, edit it the next day, and maybe a couple of days for editing. Depends on how tired I am. So, you know. Okay, next question, Maxim. Do you plan to do a video how you find and mix match colors sufficient as you do, basically up in your color theory? I thought about it, but the problem is I don't know how I do it. I just think of the colors that go well together. I place them in my head, and once I'm sure they go good together, I just paint it and they go well together. So it's very hard for me to explain how I do it because it's just instinct. So I will give it a thought, but there are very good color theory videos out there. So watch them, I guess. But I will give it a thought. Heather, will you be doing more Curse City videos? Yes, I will be doing more Curse City videos. I want to paint at least the ogres, The idea is to paint everything, but I have so many videos that I'm now not sure if I'm going to paint the heroes. I know people want to see the heroes, but for some reason I don't find them as interesting as the baddies. But I will paint for sure the big ogres, the dead ogre, and I want to paint that large bat wolf creature because I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's a great feat for contrast paints. And even if it's a bit bigger than what I usually paint, I think I want to paint it. So that at least is going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint the rats and the bats. Maybe I will do a live stream where I just paint a swarm of rats and a swarm of bats. It's so simple. It's just I feel it's like a bit of a chore to edit that video. It's a video I don't want to edit, basically. It's so much work to edit the video to something that I know is going to get so few views that I doubt it's going to be worth it. But you never know. And as for the main baddies, maybe I will do them later on, but I want to paint a couple of things, a couple of projects also that I'm doing behind scenes that I want to do, and I want to finish them. So I prefer to just do the videos that are a bit hotter, but I plan on doing. My plan in my head is doing everything, I just don't know when. That's basically it. Alex, engraved runes are a nightmare to paint. Looking forward to the video. I really hope it helps people out. It's just going to say it was a topic that appeared in my Discord, and I thought it was a good idea to make a video because yeah, I think there's not many videos about it, and I think it's something that people struggle with. So let's see. Okay. Michael. Juan, you're awesome. I know, thank you very much. I always look forward to your bits, and your self-irony is marvelous. But why hate the blue? It is the color of the French. I don't have anything against the French people. I love France. But it's just, I just find blue very boring to paint. That was all. It's also a color that is not as nice to paint as something like yellow, which I find very relaxing and very fun, and red also. So blue, you end up with a color that I don't know. I just don't enjoy painting it, and of course that gets a bit magnified for YouTube because that's what you have to do. And I thought it was funny. The people watching the first video where I painted blue thought it was funny, and I just kept doing it, and I think it's funny, so I will keep doing it. Heather, are you still coming to the UK for a Juan? Yeah, about the UK trip. So I want to do classes, like actual classes, and I would like to start with the UK. So the problem is going there cost some money. So my first idea was to cram as many classes as possible in 1 week in different shops in a certain area, so I can maximize my profits, of course, because in the end this is all for profit. So oh, sorry, I missed a question, so I will get back to Heather's question. What's wrong with the brush here? The equal is the ferrule. So you have, so when you mean that you have a hair sticking out from here, like one hair going down, you can just cut that hair off. It's not, or you can just poke it off. I prefer just to cut it. You just cut it in this direction from the hair upward, and it's no issues with that. Yeah, again, with the UK classes question. So I want to do them, but the problem is shops just want the weekends because no one goes to the shop in the weekdays. So they just want you to book for the weekends, of course. So yeah, so staying there. So going for a weekend, it really needs to be a good business because I have to pay for the flights for just one or two classes because I can do two different classes during the weekend. So that was the actual plan. So it needs to be profitable enough for that, and it needs to be very well planned. So my first idea is to make class beginning of November, end of October. Still, again, no idea if that's going to happen, but Element Games has said that they have spots open for 2022, so the beginning of 2022. So I will probably book with them sometime around there. But basically, that's it. So ideally, if I could find a way to make classes during the weekdays, it would be perfect. I could stay there for a week, pay for the hotels and the food and everything, and still be worth it. But if it isn't, I basically have to go to the UK for do one class, and then go back. And if I want to go to another shop, I need to do that again. So another flight, another set of flights again, etc., etc. So yeah, I want to do it, but we need to find the logistics better. But it's in the works. Okay, another good question. Oh no, a lot of questions that I missed. What skill technique would you say is the worst or least refined? There is no worst technique. So people usually say dry brush is like the least refined skill, and it can be very rough, but it also can be very precise and very detailed. Just watch what Bohu makes. He's a wizard with dry brush. It's more like it's not really a dry brush in the traditional sense. It's more like micro stippling, but he basically evolved what dry brush is into something else. So there is no better or worse technique. It's just how much work you put into it. It's basically it. But I would just say that personally, I never use dry brush as the last technique. So if I'm doing a dry brush, I never finish with it. I always either glaze some of the transitions over, so it's more subtle, it's more soft, and then I probably do some couple of brush traditional brush highlights, so it's again better looking. So that's my answer to that question. Philip Mabot, I was a fan. Still waiting for a video for the High Elf Sea Helm you painted for your water effect experiment. There is no video about that. I think I answered that question a couple of times. There is no video about it. I painted that for myself, for my own enjoyment, and I didn't record anything. So there isn't a video about that. Sorry, and it's not going to be, because sadly that's something that people are not really going to search for, and I need videos that people are going to watch, not just when I publish them, but in the future or in the long term. That's the kind of videos I like to make. So sadly, it's not going to happen. Alex, what are your thoughts on the loaded brush technique? It's fantastic. If you see videos where it's done well, and of course if you go and watch the Painting Buddha series, which I'm sure most of you have seen, it's just like magic. So it's something that I haven't tested as much. I did a couple of like kind of quick test to see if I can produce something usable. But I think it's right now I'm just doing stuff for the channel, so kind of videos, so I don't have time to practice on maybe test new stuff and stuff like that. So it's something that I want to try. I also want to try oils, so that's probably going to happen at some point. But I think it's a fantastic technique, and as with every technique, it has its refinement. You need to practice it to really get it good. So yeah. Okay, Team Orange. Fantastic question. What's the minimal set of paints you're comfortable with? I'm moving to another country thinking which paints to take with me. If you ask me, all of those. I hate mixing paints. I know how to mix paints. I studied art. I was taught how to make any color that I can imagine just with 6-7 paints, and I can do that pretty well. I'm very good at it, actually, but it was such a pain in the ass that I just don't do it anymore. I just buy more paint if I need it. But yeah, I think if you want to limit yourself to a very tight set of colors, I highly recommend you find anywhere you can the Chimera set. I think that set is basically the perfect small paint set. So, and they are also excellent paints, of course. They're really good paints. So if you want a small set of paints, go and grab the basic single pigment Chimera set. That will have you. That's as few paints as I would probably use if I was forced to only use a very limited amount of paints. It's very well thought out. I would just say that, and they're very good pigments chosen there. So that, and if you can't find it, you can always go and buy some high quality heavy body acrylics that use the same pigments that the Chimera set uses, because the good thing about having single pigment paints that list what pigments they use is that you can just look for that same pigment in another format and just buy it. So if you can't find it, just go and get you some Smink heavy body acrylics or some golden heavy body acrylics, the highest quality you can of them all. So the artist grade, like higher grade, and just buy them. Why not? Just go through the set of pigments that they're using. They are listed in their webpage, and just buy the same pigments and go with it. The advantage of heavy body acrylics is that they will probably last you for a lifetime. So this is a single purchase. Chelsea, hire out a community college classroom. Yeah, that's actually a good idea for the classes. The problem is, will people attend the classes during the weekdays? That's the actual question, because you probably need something around. My initial thoughts were minimum 10 people, maximum 20. So can I get 10 people to attend a class during the weekdays? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's a very complicated thing. Heather, if you need accommodation in the southwest region, you can stay at mine, as long as you're not allergic to cats. I'm not allergic to cats. I have one. We could go to Western Supermare. I would actually love to visit Western Supermare. I've been there for a lot of times, and studying English. I used to go there and stay with an English family for the summer, and had a very good memories of it. Even if it's just Western Supermare. Yeah, I would take classes with you in time, but too far away. Yeah. That's basically the problem. If I lived in England, I wouldn't have any issue just to book several shops with a week interval. It would be trivial, but not living there, it's a problem because the base costs for me build up quite fast, and again, in the end, even though I love this, if I go to teach class, it's basically a business. So I needed to make it worth it for me to stay away from my family for a weekend or even a week. So it needs to be worth it. And also closing my, if I stay there for a week, I need to make it so profitable that I'm comfortable closing my workshop and not working basically for a week, not working in my regular job. So it's not that easy. Chelsea, have you got any painted models that you want to repaint? Not really. I have some old models that I now go and see, yeah, I could make this better, but the truth is, well, they are painted. So, with exception of like maybe I want to do this army and I have those models, like some old models that are already painted but not in the scheme that I want, I will probably strip them and then repaint it. But as for models that I just painted to paint, no. I just prefer to paint new stuff. It's just better. Longwind, have you tried parochial paints? No, I haven't, and I want to. The main issue is when I test a new range of paints, what I like to do is order like one or two of those paints. And the problem is they are only on the US, so the shipping is insane. So the only thing that I think will be worth it for me was like getting like the whole set and just send it and just have it paid and deal with it. But if I don't like them, even if people say they are awesome, if I don't like them, it's a lot of wasted money. So it's the same with other brands like P3 and stuff like that. That is very hard to find here, and that I would love to test them, but I just don't know how to get like a sample of 3-4 paints for me to do so. But I think they are very well priced. People say they are really good, and I do believe them. I don't have no issues to believe otherwise. But again, very hard to find here in Spain without having to ship them all over the ocean, of course. Chelsea, I see a Hogwarts flag. The house will be. What house would you be put into? Ravenclaw. Hence the blue. My wife is a Gryffindor, by the way. If they really want to, yes, they would. What are holidays, holiday days for? Yeah, the issue is finding enough people that are willing to do that. It's a complicated matter, and organizing this is not easy. And Andy, one of my lovely patrons, have been doing way too much work calling shops and trying to organize this, and it's very hard. It's not easy at all, because of course shops want reliability. They want to know they are going to make enough money. They're going to attract people to go into the shop, and the people are going to be happy, and so on and so forth. But finding people that are willing to take 2 days of the weekday and are willing to pay as much as I think would be fair for the classes and fair for me, of course, it's hard. So I know there's not many people watching this, but do you have a shop? Do you have a place where I can do a class in the UK and you want me to go there, and you think you can round up from between 10 and 20 people that are willing to pay for a 2-day class? That would be, we thought about 100 quid for a 2-day class. It would be a good master class, probably something like NMM, So something like very high standard painting, or something like 70 quid for a 1-day masterclass on painting Space Marines with contrast paint or something like that, or a Stormcast, then email me. I'm open to suggestions and I will be very happy to go. But it's very hard for me to find the people. So if you're interested in that classes and those prices, and you are in the UK and you're willing to take off weekday to go, consider sending me an email, and we may see what comes out of there. But yes, my plan is to give classes because I really want to, and I feel like it's a natural progression for me to teach people presently, because it's very frustrating sometimes because you can ask questions that I can't answer via text on the internet. I just need to be there with you to see what you're doing right or you're doing wrong and help you better that way. Team Orange, how big is your wet palette? Does it happen to you when you lean on your old semi-dried paint puddle with your hands and then smudge it on something? Thinking that smaller palette will help with that. I have the big one. I have the Red Grass XL palette, and I ran out of space, so I'm thinking about getting another one and just put them together to have like a double size. I want a lot of space when I'm mixing paints. I don't think I could live with the small wet palette now that I'm used to the big one. Boinda, how big is your pile of shame? Any model count? I don't have any model count. I can tell you what's in what I want to paint for me. So that is not painted yet. So I have a full Bretonnian army. I have a full High Elf army. I have a full. When I say full, I'm talking about 2,000 points Kings of War. So thereabout. So Bretonnians, High Elves, Empire. My plan was to do a known army, and I have some Stormcast army, which the plan is not fully made. It's just a work in progress. But the original plan was to use it as ogres in Kings of War, because they fit. They're very, very big, so they fit as ogres fantastically. But I'm not sure I want to pursue that project now. So that's basically my pile of shame. B. Conradson, just do a class in Spain. I need a holiday anyways and would love to get better at Spanish anyway. So yeah, I will do a class in Spain. Obviously, I just again need to find a place, but somehow being my audience mainly UK and US. I would love to go to the US, but that's even harder. But I kind of want to start with the UK just to have a larger pool of people to attract, basically. But yeah, who knows? Also, Spain poses another set of challenges, which is shops are not as open to lending you space as in the UK. It's a very different hobby culture here, so I probably need like a closed, like conference room as we talk, and then there's another set of challenges we just talked about. So yeah, organizing painting classes is hard stuff. Yeah, one of the common beginner tips is to never repaint models. Yes, don't repaint your models, just paint more models. There is a ton of models to paint. What are pro acrylic paints? Yeah, there is a US brands of paints. So they are made in the US, and they are made by the people that make, if I'm not mistaken, the Creature Caster models. And I think they're very good paints, but I haven't tested them, so I cannot say. What's your opinion on Noon Oil? I don't use it. I just don't use it. Since I got my contrast medium, I just don't use it. I use Black Tempera thin down with contrast medium. That's my opinion on Noon Oil. Noon Oil it can be very good and it can be very bad. It's very inconsistent for me. As I say, as psychologist, Ravenclaw is an interesting choice. Probably. Rocky is a brand of, yeah, that's it. Monument Hobbits. And if I'm not mistaken, they do the creature caster. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Whatever. Monument Hobbits make them, and they also make some very big monsters. I need to go back. Super Short, thanks for the stream. Thank you for watching. Any chance you paint the normal boys soon? We'd love to see how you paint them. No, again, I have a ton of things to paint before I get to my own project. So I maybe paint one, maybe, but Cities of Sycamore is not like very hot. So I have right now waiting to be painted Adeptus Mechanicus, another Cruel Boy, one of the Hobgrots, Chaos Warrior, one Imperial Guard, the Tanith. Tanith is? Dude, is it Tanith or is I know there is two that had books, Tanith and let me see if it's Tanith. You'll probably just see, yeah, Tanith, yes. I have a Tanith Imperial Guard guy to paint, and I also have a lot of stuff. It's a massive list of things that I want to paint. So Cities of Sycamore is sadly not in top priority right now. But basically, go and watch the Imperial Fist and the how was the other one? The Raven Guard video, and it's just mash them together and you probably get a null guy. Pretty easy. I would probably do something like that. What level of painting would you class as score? Beginner, intermediate? No, as high as I do in my videos. So for the contrast, it will be just that level. So attempting to get to, as I say, to the heavy metal standard of painting. And for the NMM, which I plan to be like a longer class, like 2-day class, was basically as good as I can teach you to paint. So as good as I can make it, which I'm not the one to say it, but again, as if that's high or intermediate, but as high as I can make it. So that was the idea. Tim, have you participated in any painting competitions? You honestly look like a Golden Demon winning guy. I did back in the day, yeah, when there were a very long time ago. We're talking about more than 10 years ago in my local Games Workshop shop. And I went there for my painting competitions, and it was great fun. And when I won, I ended up winning overall. But my shop had a rule that once you win overall, you cannot go again. So you cannot participate again in the. You can just go into the open category, and you cannot win the overall winner. You can just win the open. So that was it. Basically, it was very, very good fun, and I met a really nice people. And then I participated in 2 online competitions. Some online competitions. The biggest one is the Headbanger, which you can see the 2 trophies back there, the 2 skulls, one with a hat, one without a hat, and they were. First place a squad and first place a vehicle for the Headbanger 2019. I was very proud of that. And the next year I took part in the Headbanger, but I had to go into the Masters category, and I didn't win anything. I didn't mind, the level was stupid high. And I plan on going into the Golden Demon as soon as I can. So 2022 I think is the next one. So I will be there. Would you consider doing a monthly poll and painting the winning choice? Would you prefer up to multiple choice answers, obviously? I thought about it. I even had that as a tier at some point in my Patreon. The problem is, sometimes I just want to paint whatever I want to paint, and sometimes the schedule is just too busy to fit anything else. So there's a mixed feeling I have about that. I mean, what you said about Nuno oil and wash in general. I don't use Nuno oil anymore. I just use a mix of Black Templar and Contrast Medium. Works much better. As for the other washes, I do use them. I use especially Abrax Earthshade, and about a few others that I do like. They just offer a different workflow from contrast paints. But I'm with contrast paints, I just tend to not use washes as much, because they basically give you a base coat wash and reapply of that base coat in the same coat. So I tend not to use as many washes as I used to before they came out. It feels like faster to me, especially for army painting and stuff like that. So yeah. And fish and chips and boiled sweets, yeah. So this has been very good fun. It's been an hour. I will answer that last question that pop out after this. So it's been an hour here. It's been a very good fun, and I feel like it's a very good moment to stop this. So thank you very much for being here. I had an amazing time. I'm going to finish my dinner, which is halfway there, and I'm going to spend a bit of time with my family, and I will see you guys in the review, which will be sometimes at the beginning of September. That's as much as I can say, because I am a mess and I don't know when I can maintain a schedule. So whatever day I tell you it's going to be, I'm probably lying. So sometime around the first week of September will be the next review, the next live video, and I will see you there. And remember, at the end of September I will do another P.A.B, and I hope I have better news about the classes and all of that we can build on. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Oh, I almost forgot, by the way. Yes, Chelsea, you're going to win.